All right, so it is Halloween, October 31st, 2023. It's cold out. Cold here in the Midwest. It's cold everywhere. We're supposed to have 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It's only getting up to 38. So it's one of those days where you stress out about finding a Halloween costume to go trick-or-treating, and now you're not even going to be able to see the costume because you're going to be wearing a coat and a hat and hoodies, all that stuff. It's going to be all covered up. Yeah, I'm going as an Eskimo. That's what I'm going at. So I told my daughter, just be an Eskimo. She never knows what she wants to do. I don't even know if she'll go trick-or-treating. She's like me, because what happens is I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go to that concert. That sounds great. Let's go. Let's get tickets. And then when the concert date comes up, gets close, I'm like, I really don't want to go. Because I start thinking about it. I don't have to get around all these people. We're all going to be crazy. I just don't want to deal with it. So yeah, we may bail on Halloween, which wouldn't be a bad thing, because it is a bad thing. All right, so speaking of bad things, it's so bad. How bad is it? It's so bad that we have the Biden administration saying that every school needs to have Narcan or Noxalone or whatever they call it, Naxalone, the anti-fentanyl drug, I guess it is. So somebody ODs on fentanyl, you can hit them with this Narcan spray and it'll take them out of it, usually. That's how bad it's gotten. Every school in America needs to be trained, needs to have the Narcan and be trained how to use it. I mean, what have we become? I mean, just a nation of just a downward spiral, down the porcelain. That's where we're at. That every school needs to learn how to use Narcan. Used to be, hey, how do we do arithmetic, reading, writing, and arithmetic? Not anymore, baby. How do we prevent somebody from dying from an overdose in school? Mind you, in school. Addiction's a serious problem, and I know you've got these, addiction, suicide hotline things, whatever it is. That people can call for support if they're, they've gone too far over the deep edge. You get addicted to something, and the next thing you know, you're not yourself, and that's kind of what's symbolic of America, I guess. We're not ourselves. We're not what America is. Not the America I believed in, kind of still believe in. We're just not ourselves. We're not acting as Americans. It's just let things spiral out of control. Money's a good example of that. The money spiraling out of control. Trillions of dollars. What was it yesterday? First time ever. I think it was the first time ever. First time ever. We're going to have a $1 trillion deficit in the last quarter of the year. $1 trillion. And I'm thinking, okay, you're on track you're doing $1 trillion a quarter. That's $4 trillion a year you're going into debt. I heard another number. It was like 700 and something billion. Okay, so let's say it's 760 billion, whatever the other number is. In the last 3 months of the year, we're going to create $760 billion in new money to go in debt. It's going to float it. You realize what the bailout was in 2008 that didn't pass the first time, but passed the second time under threat of troops and martial law on the street and all that? The bailout for the banks in 2008 was something like 768 billion, I think, or maybe 778 billion. It was under 800 billion. That was what was passed by Congress. And now we just created that same amount of money 15 years later. We did it in 3 months. 3 months. We went in the hole. And then it was a big deal. 15 years ago, that was a lot of money. Now, we might go $1 trillion in debt in the last 3 months of the year. Just $1 trillion. Shows you what the money is worth. It's worth less. It's worth less every day. I implore you, do not think that this Ponzi scheme can continue forever. It may continue for 5 more years. It could continue for 10 more years. But in that process, what's going to happen to your purchasing power? You might think, oh man, I'm killing it. I'm getting 5% rates on 2-year bonds. Woo! 5%, baby! Meanwhile, you're losing 20% a year in inflation. More than that. Your purchasing power is getting eroded. Go to the store. Look at the bags of chips. I mean, bag of Doritos, $4.99, $5.99, and it's a kid-size bag. And then they'll have like family size, which used to be the regular size. Oh, it's family size, or the Snicker bars. You know, here we are on Halloween. Tiny little, it's the fun size. You know, got a package of these fun size Snickers. I mean, it's like nothing. It's like an Andes Mint that you get at Olive Garden after you have dinner. That's how big these Snicker bars are. Oh, it's the fun size though. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to eat 20 of them, equal one. But I mean, and even the sharing size, they'll call it, that's the regular size, what the regular size used to be. No, I ain't sharing that. Because that's like what I'm used to as a Snicker bar. When I went to, you know, for 35 cents when I'd buy a Snicker bar at the local store, I mean, those things then were bigger than what I'm paying, you know, $2 for now at the convenience store. Absolutely ridiculous. They had ice on the top of the bar, on the roof. That's how cold it got. So, you're just getting robbed. I mean, so people that think, well, this can't continue, this can't continue. I mean, it can continue. I mean, it can absolutely continue. The problem is, as it continues, you are going to lose. Just think about what's happened in the last 15 years since the housing crisis and how much a house was then and a house is now, and how much your paycheck went up, if it did. That's what's going to happen in the next 5 years, probably in the next 2 years. All that inflation, all that loss of purchasing power that happened in the last 15 years, probably going to happen in the next 2 years. They'll keep kicking the can. They'll keep going as long as they can. I mean, they'll just keep doing it. When does it end? I don't know. Until we say, we can't live anymore. You'll be happy and own nothing. That's the plan. So if you keep playing in this casino, if you keep playing in this vampire casino, you're going to keep losing. Because they're going to string it along, and they'll keep it going longer than you think they can. I can't believe they've got it that's gone for 15 years. Past that point, should have died in 9/11, but, you know, and you ramped up the security state, funded all that, and then printed a bunch of money up, and we'll bomb you if you don't take the dollars. Now, not so much, but you're at the end game. It's just how long does the end game take to unwind? It could be 5 years. In that time, you're just going to it's going to be a living hell because your money is going to buy nothing. You have nothing. Hey, you got your Social Security check. You're getting $1,000 a month. Well, that $1,000 a month might pay your heating bill. If that. I don't know where you're going to get your food, though. Just walk across the border and then come back in. Then you'll get some food. You can stay at a police station if you're in Chicago. It's camped out on the freaking lobby of the police stations. That's great. Meanwhile, you got homeless people in Chicago. I'm homeless. I'm living in a freaking tent. Can you go into the police station? No, unless you get arrested. Unreal. But that's kind of society, breakdown of the Roman Empire, fall of Babylon situation that we're living through right now. When does it end? Don't know. Just know that you better be out of it as soon as you can, because it will collapse on your head. Everything you have invested in it will be destroyed. And it's going to take you with it. So get out of it. Find sound assets that are going to survive outside of a government collapse, outside of a monetary collapse, those things that have persisted, those things that work. We actually have something new now. We have cryptocurrency. We have things like Bitcoin, Litecoin, DigiByte. You have Dogecoin. You have these things that are going to persist and work even when you have a governmental collapse because they're not part of the government. They're not part of a central bank. You might want to look into those, do your own research, see which one resonates with you. There's always gold. There's always silver. There's always fuel, generator. You might need some gas for that generator. You never know. Have some seeds, heirloom seeds that you can store up. You can plant them next year, and hey, they grow, and you have food. Vampire Casino. Get out of it. You're in it. Get out of it. All right. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Love you all. Trust yourself. You know the answers.